Welcome back to my channel, you gorgeous human. Today in this video, I will be sharing with you how I personally like to contour my face and what I've learned through self-study about contour placement, do's and don'ts, and obviously tips are a must. A trained professional I am not, but my skills has scored me some great compliments and even requests to do some tutorials. What we're going to need for contouring is concealers and powders in your appropriate shade, of course, and our tools. Going in with the darker concealer shade to define and accentuate your beautiful bone structure, bear in mind the amount of product used and reasoning for contour may differ from person to person. Physiologically, it will benefit you knowing your facial skeleton, as this will help you identify your cheekbones, your forehead, nose, chin, your jawline, and that's just the face. Depending on your concealer, a little can go a long way, but know that you can always add more. When you do anything, it automatically changes because you are different, but the same principles still apply. A smaller forehead does not need to contour to create a smaller forehead, so you wouldn't need or want to use too much concealer. Though if you have a nice large forehead, you would add more product to make the illusion more believable. Do keep in mind that the product you use might have a different set time, so make sure you place enough where it matters. Don't worry, practice will make perfect, and you can always save this video to help you study later. For each area, I have a different blending style, because contouring not only enhances your features, it can also change the size of your face. So I always make sure not to get any dark concealer above my jawline, as this will create a smaller jaw. I use a brush to blend along my neckline, and I take a circular motion blending approach downward to blend it into my neck. My chiquitas, I start with an on-the-spot tap with the brush on the product, and I slowly move the product around before I really begin to stamp the product into my face. Note how I'm blending towards my temples and forehead before I take the blending towards my cheeks. This helps me control product distribution from my forehead towards my cheeks, and if I have any more left over, I can add it to any other area that I may need a little bit extra coverage.
When it comes to makeup and when it comes to the tools necessarily to do makeup, you can either use brushes or sponges, and also you can either use different types of concealer sticks, wands, the ones with the little doe foots, the ones with the little brushes at the tips, the ones with the sticks. It really depends, and really it also depends on your comfort, what you want on your face. Some people hate brushes, some people prefer sponges. Some brushes are really harsh for the skin, some are really lovely, some brushes don't blend very well, some are too soft, and some product, the consistencies and how it dries down is also sometimes a problem. So it really just depends on you and what you prefer. Me, these ends I'm leaving to blend it in with my beauty blender, because as you can see, the product right here is not blended satisfactorily, but the excess of the product I can start bringing down and chisel out all the other areas where I want to chisel out without really moving product or adding it or taking away from my actual bone structure. And then I just make sure that the edges are blended out seamlessly, so that when I set it with a powder or bronze up with a powder, I don't really get any tackiness. What is it called? Cakiness. Cake face, girl. But always remember that you can always add more product. Honestly, don't think that you don't have the product that you have on your face is the only product that you have to work with. If you need more, add more. And if you need to take away, always add a lighter product. And that's gonna help you take away if you have too much darkness in areas that you don't want darkness.
With my dampened beauty blender, I squeeze it as I blend out my nose contour, right tight lining it along that line that I created, right blending it up into my eyebrow to give the illusion that that's actually where my nose is starting to form. So we are creating entirely new nose walls with this contour.
So guys, when it comes to this part of your nose, obviously it's the narrowing of your nose. It's a sort of a fake rhinoplasty or a non-surgical rhinoplasty, if you will. But just to give you guys a heads up, if you ever cross the lines with your darker contour, don't worry, because you're always gonna highlight the bridge of your nose, so you can always straighten out that line that you cross paths with. Lighter shade concealer. This is the kind of shadow that we want. We want the shadow to kind of give off that, oh, from the side you do have a thinner nose. From the front you do have a thinner nose. From the side you do have a thinner nose. That kind of illusion is what we want, and we create that illusion with shadows and shadow placement and how the shadow falls, especially in lighting situations. I always used to do my eyebrows before I would conceal, because then I would just bake everything holistically. That used to work so much better for me than just concealing, baking, and then doing my eyebrows. So let's go back to that. And everybody's face beats are different. Just because you're putting makeup on your face a different way, if you put on eyebrows first, if you put them on last, it really doesn't matter if you get on a beauty mug and you look cute and you feel great and you feel confident. Your job is done. The makeup job is done. Your job is done. You just have to go out there and live your cutest life. That is basically it.
My highlighting zones are under my eyes to hide my dark circles, the middle of my forehead, the corner of my mouth in an upwards motion to give a sort of lifting face appearance, below the cheekbone, and obviously the bridge of my nose. Blending in my concealer, I make sure I stay within my highlight zone. And slightly, I start merging the two shades together seamlessly. Please be careful not to ruin your nose contour with your lighter concealer shade. But something I do these days is I always make sure that my powder is ready. Also, an even powder placement comes from pressing the product onto your skin, maybe the surface of your hand, before your face. So you're going to set your under eye concealer after you've given it a good blend and made sure that there's no creasing. You're going to set it with a light layer of setting powder under your eye. And then after that, we're going to fully bake. Always look up when you are baking, because you don't want your concealer to crease, and then also set all the other areas that you have concealed with powder.
Now, when it comes to your baking, you really don't have to bake for that long, especially in your jaw area, because These areas usually don't get as oily as your forehead and kind of the higher areas of your face, which is like your cheekbone area and like under your eyes. Maybe at least to me, I don't know if to you it may be different. So I tend to wipe my powder, my setting powder away after, I guess, like let's say like 30, let's say a minute, let's say like a hot minute, and then maybe less than a minute, and then I wipe it away because I also don't want it to stay there. Remember, as you are pressing powder into your face, it sets to your liquid product, and that's kind of what happened. So we kind of just want the outlines to kind of like just chill there and be in place. That's why we set those areas in place. And then my forehead just a little bit, but I'm gonna leave a little bit of the powder still there, a little under my eyes. We're baking under my eyes because, child, we don't want creasing, and because we add a lot more concealer under our eyes and all the other areas, it needs to bake, it needs to set. We don't want to stick in the little needle and then take it out and then realize, well, the cake is not ready yet. I'm a little closer so that I can tell you why it's very important, or the tip of the importance of adding more setting powder right at the bottom of your eyes. Because if you have any eyeshadow fallout, all you can literally do is just wipe it away without having to blend in the eyeshadow fallout. Isn't that freaking amazing? Because I don't know if it happens to you, but I always have eyeshadow fallout I don't plan for sometimes, especially when I get here and I don't know what I want to do with my face. And then what happens is I kind of end up blending it in because I didn't add extra powder. See how white that is? We're gonna alive and add more color to my face in a second. And I also want to show you how I blend that out. So I have a very gentle hand when you are brushing away your powder.
Now we're gonna do the exact same thing, just with powder. Think of it this way. You have set your liquid products in place with setting powder, which mattifies your face to add more powder products. I'm enjoying some Chloe and Hailey Bailey in the background, but I am taking the darkest compact powder, literally even eyeshadow. I used an eyeshadow because the pigment, oh my gosh. Pigmentation just means how potent the color is compared to other makeup brands. I'm definitely listening to some Chloe and Hailey Bailey in the background. With circular and tapping motions, I slowly build up my contour, and the same thing I'm gonna do when I use my lighter compact powder to add to my highlighted areas. I think by far my nose has to be the best part of contouring and highlighting. I didn't take any product on my brush. I simply just am blending out the concealer that I have blended out previously, but left just a tad bit unblended so that I can come back and blend it out and really take it up into my eyebrows, especially when my eyeshadow is done. That's when I really like blending in my nose contour in under my eyebrows. This way it also looks a lot more realistic and it gives you a more realistic nose job effect. Obviously, not all products will be able to do this. This concealer, oh man, it's a wonderful concealer. You literally leave it on and then you come back and you blend it out and it still hasn't dried down. I have no idea how Jeffree did it, but this is a beautiful concealer. With any other concealer, do make sure that you just blend it out on time. Now we're going to add some color to the face with some blush. I blush up the apples of my cheek, my forehead, and then also on my chin area. However you do your blush is always up to you. Finally, I'm blending out the bridge of my nose.
Just make sure that when you do that, don't be as rough and as rogue as me. Like, really go in and make sure that you're blending it out straight, because you don't want a crooked nose. And then you can always go in with your concealer brush to make sure that, look at that nose is perfect, girl. Look at that nose is perfect. And then I like to blend out my blush like as my contour goes down as well. I don't know, I just find that like nice to do that. Sometimes I bring it to my forehead, I bring it to my jaw, just so that we have like a splash of color everywhere on the face to even out the shadows that we created when we placed our new bone structure. You're from South Africa, a lot of you guys know this bad boy. This is a good bad boy to have. So this is my face contour palette. These are all my powders that I use to brighten and highlight my face. And I'm gonna go in with the lightest powders to powder under my face, under my face, to highlight and set again, just to highlight all the areas, re-highlight areas, you know, just those fine little touches. Make sure that the halo right here on my forehead is nicely evened out, because I don't want to decrease the size of my forehead too much. So these are kind of like just the final settings. Powder is like, you know, just your filler when it comes to makeup. Like the powder contour, especially when it comes to glam. Like if I want a full glam, if I want my glam to last the entire day, this is it. Your powder and liquid combo will take you further than Sean Kingston. And you know he could take you. So now I'm gonna go in with my bronzer. So I'm gonna go in. What I usually do is I kind of go over, after I've put in like a darker bronzer, I go in with my normal natural bronzer over the mixture between my blush and the darker bronzer, just to make sure that they kind of blend like silk, if that makes sense. Like, you really want those colors to be like perfectly blended, like you're a canvas, like you're a beautiful painted canvas, and you don't want anything to, you know, harsh your vibe and your boy, don't be killing us.
Dum, 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 dum. And there you have it, guys. A fully built face, new face in 20 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed my fully updated contour and highlight routine. I'll see you guys on the next video. I love you. Thank you for watching.